Hi everyone, this is Raina. So this is a video for the full moon in Sagittarius, which is happening on June 9th. And this is called the strawberry moon. I looked this up. This is from the Algonquin tribes of North America, in some parts of the United States, in Canada. And I found out, though, too, which is interesting, is that in Europe they call it the rose moon. So it almost makes me wonder if there is going to be like a pinkish, reddish hue to it. So we will see about that. I'm assuming, I know with the strawberry moon, it had to do with the strawberries growing at that time of year. Of course, this is the northern hemisphere. And in Europe, maybe roses are big in June. I don't know. So I just liked that that description, the strawberry moon. And so I am going to be picking cards from different decks that I have. Maybe I'll just do that now, but I'm also going to talk just briefly about the astrology of this full moon. So I'm going to pick a card. Maybe I'll pick one from my... this will be the card. What is this deck? My Morgan Greer deck. Okay. And I'll pick one from my other typical Rider-Waite deck. Pamela Coleman's illustrations. Okay. I got that. And now we're going to pick one. Should I pick one from this? Yes, I might as well. This is the Energy Oracle deck by Sandra Ann Taylor. We will pick one from her deck. Very nice stock of cards. Okay, this came up reversed. I think she has reversed cards. And it says Walking Away, number 27. It's funny because I'm recording this on May 27th. Okay, that's hers. Let's see what else we got here. I got all these decks. And I'm going to get some more decks too one of these days. I'll pick one from the Law of Attraction deck. What the heck? Pick everything. The only thing about this deck is I have to like not even look at it because both sides actually contain words on it, so I don't want to be influenced. Oh wow, perfect. Honesty. Because this full moon in Sagittarius, well, full moons always have things coming out into the open, okay? And with Sagittarius is all about the truth. So if ever a time for the truth to come out, and we have some hard aspects from the sun, moon, and I believe, is it Mercury? And Mercury to Neptune. So that can indicate a lot of lies floating around. Now this could be even in the society at large. Where do we get our information from? Those people, there could be a lot of deception being spread around. And the reason for that, the ultimate reason for that kind of behavior is in order to mislead people, to get them to, fulfill an agenda. Gotta take a sip of my tea. So just keep that in mind, because we've been having a lot of these hard aspects to Neptune, and whenever you have a full moon, the sun and moon are in opposition. So there's always an emotional thing going on. And with Sagittarius and Gemini being the two signs involved, this can be a situation of information, very specifically. Actually, I would say of all the signs, Gemini is connected to journalism and the media. So that might be Sagittarius, getting to the truth. What is the truth about what we're being spoon-fed by the media? And yet it can also be in your personal life as well, depending on what house is this. These two signs are showing up. That could be where your drama is playing out. Okay, I'm going to keep going with these decks. I'm going to try to fit everyone in here. While I'm doing this and shuffling these cards, I wanted to say too that the one good thing about this is I think this is wonderful manifestation energy because the sun is trining Jupiter. Obviously, you know, Jupiter is, oh yeah, because Jupiter is going direct on the same day. So that is very fortunate. You have the sun in Gemini trining Jupiter in Libra, and it's on the same day. So there's something like a shift happening, you know, right around that time. Shift happens, and that's happening then. A sextile between the moon and Jupiter. So even on an emotional level, that is kind of like a guardian angel protecting us emotionally, because a lot of times when you get these heightened emotions at the time of the full moon, then at least you have the saving grace of having a beautiful harmonious energy flow from the moon to this expansive Jupiter. And Mercury trine Jupiter. So even, you know, using your mind to manifest these great things that you want to accomplish. And it could even be on the mental level. It might not even be some kind of a material object. Maybe you just want to have more peace of mind. Okay, so this is from the Native Spirit deck. I think I got this last month, Elder. And so I'm not even going to look in the book because it's basically, you know, about the wisdom that comes with experience, you know, and definitely a lot of people who are watching me are not necessarily in their 20s, and sometimes people do not acknowledge that they have this power because they have been on this earth a long time. Now, obviously there are people who are older who never learn from their mistakes, but definitely, you know, and I was going to say too, definitely with the sun in Gemini, Gemini tends to be a very young sign. Even when the people are older, they always retain that youthful energy. But it's an energy, you know, a lot of people want to look young, but they're not really trying to embrace wisdom. And I think that's where there's a lot of misunderstandings with that. So let me see. Let me get a card from, this is the Kyle Gray, what was it called? Keepers of the Light Oracle. Higher learning. Melchizedek. You have learned from experience. More inner study is now required to further progress. You know, it's funny because this is like, I would associate this is definitely associated with Sagittarius. That's perfect. The Sagittarius rules the 9th house of higher learning. And Jupiter is the ruler of Sagittarius. And so it rules that house as well. And of course, I just said that on the same day, Jupiter's going direct. So it's pretty synchronistic here. And then the last deck that I'm going to be pulling cards from is the Ascended Masters deck. Ugh, this one is really... And this is over here. This is Doreen Virtue. I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with this. I happened to go to Reiki and get attuned. When I had my level 1 attunement, I've been attuned to level 2, but the woman who was doing the attunement, she had these cards, and so I was like, oh, I got to get this deck. I mean, just feeling these cards is amazing. Okay. I keep wanting to do that, some of my favorite things. I'm going to have to do that because then I can just talk about my feelings about these different cards. This is another thing I associate with Sagittarius, freedom. And I'm assuming, I don't think I've ever pulled this card, Hina. I'm assuming that's the name. It'll be interesting to read about that because I know nothing about that. Never pulled that card before. Okay. So I'm going to start with these tarot cards that I pulled from the 2 different decks. Oh, you know, it's interesting. Oh my God. Even with these cards, there's synchronicity because look, what do you see in common with both these cards? Look at the numbers. 9. What's the date of this full moon? The 9th. Even a 6, which is June, if you turn it upside down, it's a 9. Okay, so we have the number 9 is a number of humanitarianism, by the way, and also I would say solitude. The hermit in the major arcana is 9. Starting with the 9 of Wands. This is a card of setting boundaries and having your guard up, but it can be in a positive way. This is not in the reverse position. I just said to you about Neptune, and I think this is very, very important. I think this is so important. I think it's important right now, today. But there's probably hard aspects in Neptune right now because we're currently in Gemini and Neptune is in Pisces, so they're naturally forming a square. What you need to really make sure that you allow into your fortress of your mind and your heart that which serves you, because there's so much from the outside world that wants to get inside of your head and wants you to feel a certain way, that wants you to feel this, that wants you to be in anguish. And there are events that happen, there are things that are said as if they are true because they are said through certain channels, and we're supposed to believe them because these people are supposedly experts or in a certain line of work that we're supposed to believe what they say. And yet they are causing people a lot of anxiety. For some people, they're causing them anxiety because they believe everything that they hear. And this is why it's so important that you do have, you don't have to, it's not about just creating this brick wall around yourself. You might, there are techniques like creating an energy bubble. I don't, like white light and all this stuff. You can look that up on YouTube. I'm sure there are meditations you can do, especially if you're a very empathic, sensitive person. Even if you don't watch the news, just by living on this planet with other people who do, can affect you negatively. And the thing about it is, it's bad enough if we are being fed disinformation, but it's also causing us to have to deal with other people who are reacting this way. You may know people who are having trouble sleeping, their patterns have been altered because they are very vulnerable to suggestion, to what other people are saying, and whether it's true or not. And it doesn't need to be true, does it? As long as it affects people negatively. That's all that really matters. So it's about creating that inner sanctum, that place that is your sanctuary, your respite from the world of illusion. You know, the word Maya, when was that word invented? And what does that mean? That means worldly illusion. Well, the Hindus had this, you know, thousands of years ago, before the internet, before broadcast news. And they still knew that this world was unreal. You know, it's relatively real or unreal, because obviously we do experience things, and whether they're temporary, in that temporary moment, they may feel very real. So I'm not going to totally dismiss the things that happen in life, but by the same token, we need to really be conscious of what is happening around us and who is trying to get us into what state of consciousness. If somebody, you know this, if you are home during the day, and I'm talking about Americans specifically, and you flip on the radio, and yes, some of us still listen to terrestrial radio, I do, you will hear all kinds of things about, bankruptcies and all these, trying to get you into this fear-based mentality in the commercials. And they're doing that for a reason. They're trying to manipulate you. That's no different. When people are trying to grab your attention through negative means, they're doing so in order to manipulate you. There's no other way of looking at it. Otherwise, they would try to look on the bright side. But the bright side empowers you. So if somebody is trying to get you to buy something, chances are they're going to try to get you to feel scared, that you need them to make sense of the world. And so they will not try to empower you, obviously. They're going to try to do the exact opposite. So definitely this card is about staying up at night and, insomnia, worried about something. Somebody pointed out, I don't know who it was, that she has flowers. Oh, is this a man? I don't know. But the person has flowers on their bed comforter. And it's supposed to be that things aren't really as bad and they're making mountains out of molehills. So that's also kind of what may be going on, that you're being fed these things and then you worry about them, but really all is well. Okay, so the next one is, I hope I got the sequence right so I can look in the right booklet, because I don't know. I don't do these very often, so I don't have these memorized. This is walking away. I'll show it in the upright position. And as you can see, oh wow, 2 + 7 = 9. Oh my gosh. Well, it sounds like the number 9 is featured in the month. And 9 is the end of a cycle, so that could also be at play here. So let me get the right booklet. That would have been a good idea. Let me see. Okay. The keywords are letting go and moving on. And that's what a full moon is all about, is letting go of that which no longer serves you. In the reverse position, this card reverse signals that you may be feeling very stuck in some present situation or location. There may be a job or relationship that no longer resonates with you, yet out of habit or perhaps fear, you allow yourself to stay when it might be healthier to consider walking away. Habit and familiarity are compelling forces, often causing people to ignore their intuition and even dishonor their genuine feelings. This is a time of honest investigation. Consider all of the factors in the present situation. Perhaps the timing isn't quite right, and there may be some purpose in staying a little while longer. Don't deceive yourself about your motivations, however. Fear-based decisions don't often work out in your highest interests. You also may be stuck in a long-term personal habit or unhealthy pattern. Be aware that you always have an option and the responsibility to let go of any thought or behavior that no longer honors you. Whenever you walk away from negativity, you always move toward greater happiness. That's, I think, a very important thing, and it's so hard in that moment because even if you have a habit, that habit is giving you a certain payoff, even if it's also negatively impacting your life. And a lot of times people are afraid to give up something like that because they feel like there's nothing to take its place that's positive. And so that is something that has to be looked at if you have some type of addiction, that you have something else to fall back on that's going to make life, worth living, interesting. It could be an addiction to a person, to a relationship. And yet, if you're staring solitude in the face, or loneliness, if you think of solitude as loneliness, it's going to be very hard to make that necessary decision. Now, the affirmation for this card is, it is safe and comfortable for me to move on. I consider all my options and then take action on my own behalf. I like that. I like that a lot. And I like the fact that it adds up to 9. I really do. All of these cards were 9s. And it's the 9th. And then I got these honesty cards. I mean, this is really on point, if I must say so myself. I mean, I just picked these cards. But I am fair and honest, and that attracts fairness and honesty into my life. And this is what the picture looks like. Kind of interesting colors. Kind of that pink for the strawberry rose moon. Yes, and that certainly is Sagittarius. And Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, the planet of luck and expansion. And so I personally feel that when you live a life of integrity, that you don't have to worry about a thing because you're not lying, so you're not generating that negativity that comes from, the negativity is not just because, oh, it's a sin to lie or something like that. It's because it's not what is. And so whether you're lying to yourself or whether you're lying to another person, you're rejecting the truth. And that's not living in authenticity. You're not being authentic. And when you're authentic, there's this sense of ease, the sense of comfort, because you don't feel like you have a mask on, and I think that's so important. Maybe it's because I'm a Sagittarian. I picked this before, Elder. I'm not going to read from it because I did do so in the new moon for Gemini reading. It's funny, Gemini, Sagittarius, they're complementary signs, but just honoring the wisdom that comes from, being a veteran of life. Maybe I'll just briefly look to see if there's any other important things to say. But I don't even know if I have that deck in front of me. I don't want to just take up your time here, so I'm just going to let that go for now. Okay, this is Melchi's deck. I think this is from Kyle Gray. Okay. did find the Native Spirit deck, and it means confidence in entering your power, standing strong. You are a leader, stepping into the light. Let your truth be heard and felt by others. Make a stand in life. You carry deep inner wisdom. You are a teacher in the deepest sense of the words. You are a beacon for others. It's so funny because Sagittarius is considered the teacher. And, you know, the word sage, the wise person, that's connected. And so, yeah, I mean, you may feel called at this time to be a leader. If you're somebody who has been studying, maybe you've been studying metaphysics for a long time, and now you want to be the one disseminating these ideas. You might even decide to start a YouTube channel yourself or start a blog that covers topics like this. That would certainly be good. Now, for I can't say his name, Melchizedek. Higher learning, you have learned from experience. More inner study is now required to further progress. This is what he looks like. I love those blues. Blue color. Okay, they have the pronunciation. Melchizedek is a high priest who's mentioned in the Bible's book of Genesis and many other sources too. He is here to assist the earth through the ascension process, which is basically moving everyone and everything back to a state of love and harmony. He appears with bright light around him and a long robe, and a long white beard to match his ancient high priest ways, and is said to have his own order of light-filled priests who are able to help spiritual people develop their gifts and qualities. As he works on a high energetic level, we can connect with him through sacred geometry and by focusing on ancient star-shaped symbols. So I guess that's like the Merkaba. This is you can see this, you know, these different geometric configurations. And if you look, you know, if you go online, you can see, you know, I think they're also called like yantras and mandala, you know, the mandala paintings and stuff like that. And they have different vibrations based on different things. Like there might be one for prosperity, one for love. And you never know. You could try that and see if that, you know, purchase one, download if they have that available. Just have it on your computer and just like look at it every day. Kind of like what you would do with a vision board. And who knows, maybe just like the hertz, if you know about those on YouTube, the frequency of different things like love, you can listen to those sounds and they are supposed to elevate us to that frequency. Extended message. You have learned so much to this point and are learning more every day. You are recognizing all of the great lessons your experiences and challenges have brought to you and are preparing for a transition or inner ascension where you will move beyond another level of fear and into the inner sanctum of your heart and soul. Become aware of patterns, ancient symbols, and signs being sent to you from the universe. There's a sense that you are now able to focus in a new way and offer great light to the world. Melchizedek. No, I want to say CH. Melchizedek and his order are with you now, leading you towards spiritual wisdom. Meditate and connect with their light. You know, I tend to be a kind of an irreverent person. While I was reading that, I was trying hard not to laugh because I was saying, when I was describing him, I was thinking he looked like Kenny Rogers. So it's probably, I hope I didn't distract any of you from that. But anyway, the last one is Hina. I think that's how you pronounce it, Freedom. And this is from the Ascended Masters deck, Doreen Virtue, as I've said. I'm curious to know about her because I don't think I've ever read about her. Okay, freedom. And that is definitely a key word of Sagittarius, freedom. You know, you see with Sagittarius the horse. And what is the horse? You know, the wild horses that are just roaming, just boundless, you know, or bounding in the boundlessness. Yeah, I pronounced it correctly, Hina. Walk away from restrictions and be free. You have the power and the right to change your life so that you experience more freedom. This card signifies that your soul is crying out for more freedom, especially as it involves your life's purpose. Perhaps it's time to take a break so that you can think clearly about your desires and available options. The universe always supports the desire for expansion, creativity, and freedom. And by the way, Sagittarius, being a fire sign, is naturally associated with creativity. Say yes to freedom and the universe will say yes to you. There's a saying, jump and the universe will provide a net. Additional meanings for this card. It's time to leave a situation that you've outgrown. That was kind of representative of that card walking away, except that there was a certain blockage. Questioning the validity of any rules that you've imposed on yourself. Allowing the universe to support you while you make desired life changes. Be assertive and say no to anyone who's overstepped boundaries with you. Hina is a Polynesian and Hawaiian moon goddess. Whoa. Who's considered, I'll tell you why I said whoa, who's considered so beautiful that no one can directly look at her. She felt compassion for the natives, so she threw pieces of the moon down to the islands to provide for their material needs. The pieces turned into banyan trees, which the natives pounded into tapas cloth for use in clothing and commerce. Call upon Hina for issues involving fertility, attraction, and manifestation. It's funny, this sounds like a Polynesian equivalent of Lakshmi in the Hindu pantheon of gods and goddesses. But the reason I said whoa is because on YouTube my handle is Lemurian Chick, and I actually began my channel before I had any intention, like several years before I had any intention of ever making videos. And I always said to myself, I will never do this. I thought it was crazy for anybody to do it. And when I finally did it, you know, I questioned, or I thought, should I change it to Rain and Moon? And it's funny because Hawaiian moon goddess, and then it's Polynesian. Polynesia is Lemuria, is part of Lemuria. I believe the lost continent of Lemuria, along with, I believe, maybe Australia, the South Pacific, New Zealand. It might even be India. I'm not really sure. But yeah, that hit home for me, and I really resonated with this particular name when I heard it. I thought it was something very interesting. So again, as I said before, there is, as I was saying this, I'm going to put the words Jupiter activation in this reading because I do feel that there's some kind of connection. Not only we have a full moon in Sagittarius, and then we have Jupiter, the ruler of Sagittarius, going direct on the same day, and these wonderful aspects. Let me bring them out again to Jupiter, which can be great for manifestation. We have Sun trine Jupiter, Mercury trine Jupiter. The only fly in the ointment is Mars square Jupiter, which can bring up aggression and overblown aggression, things like that. But we have these beautiful, and the moon sextile Jupiter. So especially with Mercury trine Jupiter, that's something to train your thoughts upon, about what it is that you want to manifest. And it's supposed to be the most powerful, potent time the time of the full moon. So for what that's worth, take advantage of it. Okay, you guys. I wish you a wonderful, magical full moon in Sagittarius. Bye.